Okay, we're moving on to the second part of our rational unit. We have another rational unit. We've had 2 so far this year. We're going to add and subtract rationals. Remember, a rational number is anything that can be written as a fraction, a ratio. So pretty much this whole chapter is all about fraction part of rationals. Adding fractions, multiplying fractions, dividing fractions, throwing variables in there, comparing with fractions. And you today are going to be able to add and subtract positive and negative rationals. We're not going to do variables today. Variables is going to be on Monday, next week. So, you need to remember when you add and subtract fractions, you need a common denominator. So that's the foundation, the previous knowledge there. And then we need to be careful when we throw the variables in there that we only combine like terms. But that we don't apply that for this lesson. I want you to rate a star because there's something else I want you to be able to know with this. If they're different signs, so different signs, you have to take their different. That's when you have to apply which fraction is bigger, because you have to do the bigger number, the bigger absolute value, minus the smaller one. So you're going to need to compare fractions to make sure that if they're different signs to be able to identify which one is larger. Okay, 6 and 9/10 plus 4 and 12/5. I don't even like it written this way. I usually just rewrite it quick. 6 and 9/10 plus 4 and 12/5. So what should I make my common denominator? 10. So I went 5 times 2 is 10, 12 times 2 is 24. So now I'm going to add my fraction portion. 9 plus 24 is 33 over 10. And add my whole numbers. Now I got to regroup. Since this is an improper fraction, 10 goes into 33 3 whole times. So since I had 10, now I have another 3 wholes, which is 13, and 3 tenths. Okay? Negative 6 ninths and 4 twelfths. So this was negative 6 over 9 plus 4 over 12. What's our common denominator? 36. So I went 9 times 4 is 36. Negative 6 times 4 is negative 24. 12 times 3. 4 times 3 is 12. Now they're different signs. So since they're different signs, I need to take their difference. So I need to know which fraction is bigger. Is 6 ninths bigger or 4 twelfths bigger? 6 ninths is bigger, right? So I'm going to go the 6 ninths, which is the negative 24, 36. I'm going to go 24 over 36 minus 12 over 36. And that turns to 12/36. Hold on. And then I have more negatives, so you make it negative. Simplifying at the end, that's negative 1/3. All right, the next one, I get negative 2 ninths plus 1 1/3. What's my common denominator? What's my common denominator?
9.
Thanks, 9 is definitely my common denominator. 3 times 3 is 9, 1 times 3 is 3. They're different signs. So do I add them or subtract them? Subtract. So I'm going to go the bigger absolute value, which is 1 3/9, subtract 2/9. I don't even look at the sign. I just subtract the absolute values. 3 minus 2 is what? 1. 3 minus 2 is 1 over 9. 1 minus no holes is 1. Is it going to be positive or negative? Positive, because the positive was further away. -5 minus a -3/3 is -5 plus 3/8. Did I say that wrong at first? Yeah, I did, didn't I? Like, what did I say? Whatever. I said something weird. Different signs. So what do I need to do? Subtract them. I usually always regroup this into, watch how I regroup it if you recall. I regroup this into 4, I take a whole away, and then rewrite a whole. Do you remember doing that last year at all? Take a whole away and rewrite a whole. That's what I did. Plus 3/8. So since they're different signs, I know I need to take their difference. So I go 4 and 8 over 8 minus 3/8 is equal to 4 and 5/8. And then which one do I have more of, negatives or positives? Negative, so it will be a -4 and 5/8. So this is definitely upping the rigor level of fractions. You have to be able to identify which fraction is bigger. If they're opposite signs, you need to take their difference. Okay, now we're moving to subtraction examples, which we actually applied subtraction with our previous slide of adding different signs. But this is going to be with regrouping. When you regroup, what you're really doing is borrowing a whole. When you regroup, you're really borrowing a whole. A whole is whatever the denominator is. So when you regroup, you're borrowing a whole. The whole is whatever the denominator is. Here, I have 2 parts to the whole. Here, I have 4 parts to the whole. So the whole is whatever the denominator is. Okay, so common denominator here is 4. So that turns to 2 2/4 minus 1 3/4. Can I take 3 away from 2? No, I mean, you think -1, but you don't want to think that. And if you can borrow, okay? So I can't take 3 away from 2, so I need to borrow a whole. So I take a whole away from the 2. How many parts to the whole? 4. 4 parts to the whole. I already had 2 parts, so the 4 and 2 turn into 6. And now I can subtract. 6 minus 3 is 3 over the denominator. 1 minus 1 is no wholes left. So I have 3/4. Okay, now this one looks like it shouldn't even be in this regrouping one. Because what I see here, plus a negative, and I have 2 negatives. When they're the same sign, you just add them and make them the sign they are. So I'm going to get that common denominator of 42. 7 times 6 is 42. 4 times 6 is 24. This would turn to 35, multiplying 5 by 7. And now again, they're the same sign. So if they're the same sign, you just add them. You add them up and then put it the sign they were. So 35 and 24 is, I don't know, 35, 59. So I have 59 over 42. 2 plus 5 is what? 7, just make it negative. 42, but now I can regroup some more. 42 goes into 59 how many times? So I have 7 holes and another hole is 8. 17 remaining over 42, negative.